Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary STROOPE Family Foundation, Panama-BUENA Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Do the Math. I'm Michael.
And I'm Cindy.
And in studio with us, we have Katelyn. And Katelyn, if somebody needed to get a hold of us to do the math, what would they need to do?
They can call in Bakersfield, which the number is 636-4357. And the toll-free number is 1-866-636-6284. And if you wanted to know their email, it's dothemath@kern.org. And we're online at dothemathonline.net.
There you go.
And we have social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
All right, so obviously you go to Reagan Elementary.
Yep.
And what grade are you in?
6th grade.
How's that going?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good? What's so good about 6th grade?
I don't know, really. It's the last year you get to be with your friends before switching classes.
So, okay, so you're telling me you're never going to see your friends again?
No, it's just you get to be in the same classroom
Okay.
for the whole day.
So do you think you'll like going to different classrooms or?
Probably, because then you get to meet new teachers and new kids, and I don't know.
Exactly. Well, that's part of the benefits of going to junior high and doing that for the first time, meeting new teachers,
Yeah.
seeing their different styles, meeting new people because you'll be in different classes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you were also part of Math Counts,
Yep.
which took place a little while ago. And
Mm-hmm.
what was the best thing about taking part in that competition?
Doing the math?
So all the training for it?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you think of the competition itself?
A little stressful, but otherwise it's pretty cool.
Well, and I think it's fine to be, was it really stressful or you were kind of anxious because you wanted to do well?
Anxious. most
Okay,
of the time.
right, because I don't think it was really stress because you guys
No.
were pretty prepared for that, right? So all the schools, they do the training and they get the kids ready, and that way when you go into 7th and 8th grade, you'll be a little better prepared for that, right?
Yeah.
All right, so it was a good experience overall?
Yeah.
All right, you know why you're here today, right?
Yeah.
Do some math, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get over to the board and let's get going, all right? So here's the first problem. You're going to have a variety of problems to work on today.
Okay.
So the first one, so we'll start way over on the left here, Cindy.
You want me to
3,
write it?
so you can go ahead and write it, and then we'll have Katelyn work through it.
Okay, 3.
Open parentheses, 1 plus x, close parentheses, equals 2, bracket 3, parentheses, x plus 2, close parentheses, minus, open parentheses, x plus 1, close parentheses, close bracket. All right, Katelyn, it's all yours.
See why I started on the left? So explain what you're doing as you go.
Oh, so you multiply in the 3 times 1, which is 3, and then you multiply in the 3 times x, which you get 3x. And then you just keep solving from there.
Just so we don't lose anybody that's watching, just go ahead and show the steps, even though I know you're doing some of them in your mind.
Okay.
So you're distributing there.
Yeah. That's
Okay, so pause for a minute, because this is where people always mess up, right? Is right here.
Yeah.
So how'd you get from a plus to a minus, just for someone that might be wondering?
You multiply the minus in from the positive, and negative times positive is negative.
Yeah, so That's good, because a lot of people do mess up right there. All right, go ahead, sorry.
It's okay.
Can you simplify your brackets first?
Yeah.
Okay, so you decided to go ahead and just distribute your two. Okay.
And then 3 plus 3x.
Okay, so I'm gonna just because I know people are gonna be like, whoa, what happened? So you went ahead and you got 10 by combining 12 with -2, and then you decided to move your 6x and your -2x to the other side.
Yeah.
And that's why you switched them over here to
Yeah.
negative at 6x and positive 2x, and you moved your 3 to that side, which is why you, okay.
Yeah.
Just so someone's not wondering, what in the world? How'd that all happen?
So as you move them, Katelyn, just talk about what you're doing,
Okay.
okay?
So 3x minus 6x equals -3x. -3x plus 2x equals 7, which is 10 minus 3. And -3x plus 2x is -x. And that is 7. You can't have negatives on the variable side, so you have to switch to the other side. So x equals -7.
There we go.
All right, nicely done for that first problem. Do remember we have phone tutors available until 5:30 as we do most Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the regular school year. Time now for today's Math in the News.
Big problem.
Clear one.
Yeah.
All right, so today is the 19th of February. Anything big going on today?
Not that I think so.
She's on
It's
TV?
just the 19th of February, right?
Yeah.
Anything big for you, Cindy? February 19th?
Nope.
No?
Nothing.
All right, well, not really much going on in the news that we could talk about as far as math was going on and stuff today, so I just figured, let's take a look at the 19th. So, so you've heard of divisibility rules, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you know if something is divisible by, let's say, 21? What is that divisible by? What numbers can go into 21?
3, 7, and 1,
Right.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if somebody said, well, how do I know if a number is divisible by 6? What must it be divisible by if it's going to be divisible by 6? Do you remember that one?
I think you would add the digits, and then the sum of that would have to be divisible by 6.
That would be 9,
Okay.
right?
Then I don't remember.
Okay, so 6 is if 2 and 3, right? So if the number is divisible by 2 and 3, then it's also divisible by 6. So if you add up the digits, give me a 3-digit number.
152.
152. So 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 2 is 8. That doesn't add up to anything that's a multiple of 9, so we know that's not going to be divisible by 9.
Yeah.
All right? So then you can take a look and go, all right, well, is it divisible by 2? Well, it's 152, so we know that. And then you have to figure out the 3. Anyway, so a lot of people don't know, well, is it divisible by 19? Right? That's kind of a difficult one. A lot of people do that one. So let's take a look at it today. So if 100A plus B is divisible by 19, then A plus 4B must be. So we're going to look at 323. All right? 323 is 3 times 100 plus 23, okay, which is the same as up there. So A would be 3 and B would be 23. So A plus 4B, A is 3, 4 times B, and remember 4 times B, and B is 23, is going to be 95, all right? 95 is divisible by 19. How many times is 19 going to 95? Can you figure that out quick?
I think 5.
5, right? So therefore, 323 is also divisible by 19. And that's just a quick little thing for today's Math in the News, divisibility by 19. 636-4357 is that phone number, and we do have an opportunity right now. We're going to go out and about, see what's happening in the real world.
can you hear the chants in the background? Math in the real world, math in the real world. We are back. We always want to know how we use math in the real world, and we're here today. Oh man, this is such a really, really cool place. We can see exactly where math's happening. Manuel Castro is with us today. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you being with us. Yeah. Tell us where we are and what we're going to see today.
Okay, we're at the training center for the Southwest Carpenters Apprenticeship Program.
Okay.
We have been around for over 30 years, building the path to a successful career for the young men and women of this local area here in the Central Valley.
Right, right.
We are a branch of the Southwest Carpenters Union, the United Brotherhood of Carpenters.
Okay.
We have around 10,000 apprentices throughout the Southwest region of the United States.
Gotcha. So when a young person wants to be a carpenter, they come through you and you train them how to do that and how to do it correctly and safely, right?
Yes, we guide them on how to get sponsored through a contractor that's signatory with our union, with our syndicate.
Okay.
And after 3 months or so from working out in the field, learning the very basics in the field, getting their feet wet, they come to us and we start giving them their class sessions.
Okay, so there's some practical experience in the field, and then they're going to come do some classroom things and learn a little bit more of the technicalities, right?
Yes, this is a 4-year program. It's a college accredited program. Like in this area here, this local guys from Bakersfield area, they actually have to sign up with Bakersfield College or KERN College.
Okay, gotcha. So it's a 4-year program. So it takes a little while, right? But we want to make sure that they have the right knowledge when they go out there and start making things so the buildings stay up, right?
Yes, they come with us 1 week every 3 months.
Okay.
That's how they start achieving their level of apprenticeship. They start at first level, and every 3 months they come in, they get certifications, they get more knowledge, more classes. Once they go through our whole curriculum, every 6 months or so they get an upgrade, and then they get a raise when they go.
Ah, so there's incentive. There's a little bit of financial incentive as well. So a carpenter,
You earn as you learn.
you earn as you learn. That's a good motto. I like that. So as if someone ends up being a carpenter, they've gone through a pretty extensive apprenticeship program. They have to be an apprentice first, right?
Yes, like in my case, I'm a product of the apprenticeship program. I
Okay.
was sitting down in a training center like this 33 years ago.
All right.
And I, of course, preach to all these young people, finish your apprenticeship program, make sure that you get your journeyman certificate. That's what makes you a true craftsman.
All right, good. And I like the fact that there's a plan. So I want to know, if I come in here and I want to be a carpenter, right? I want to be an apprentice in your program. What's one of the first things I got to learn? Because I need to know how to measure things, right?
Yes.
Show us a little bit about what we're going to see at the very, very beginning, because I know.
The first thing you need to learn is how to read a measuring tape.
How to read a measuring tape. Super important.
Yes,
Yeah.
the first day in our classroom, that's one of the main things that we teach the young guys and girls.
Okay.
It's tape measuring, reading exercises, making sure that when they go out to the contractors, that's the least we could do for our customers.
Right.
Send the guys out there.
And
with
a
the
lot of people
knowledge.
will see all these lines on a tape measure between 0 and 1 inch, and all of these fractions are not there, right? Not on the tape measure. They have to know what they are and what they stand for. So how do you go about starting to teach that?
Well, first of all, is we explain to them that main thing is learn how to read 1 inch. There's 16 equal fractions in 1 inch.
Okay.
16 equal sections.
Equal little pieces.
The smallest unit of measure that we typically use is a 16.
Right.
You know,
16th of an inch.
We don't necessarily get into like 30 seconds and 64ths.
Right.
Because that's when you're building pianos.
That's
But
important.
for us, we're building structures. Yes, we do cabinetry and all that. Then it might be specialty there. But for us, it's down to the 16th of an inch.
Right.
And explaining to them, how to break down a 1 inch. That's the easiest way of teaching it. Once they master that 1 inch, now it's all going to be all typical. Okay, learning the 1 foot.
Right.
Okay, how to write fractions. Also, how to break down fractions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So your answer to that student that I had one time in math class that said, Mr. Hayner, I'm going to be a carpenter. I don't need math. Your answer would be, oh no, here we go. We need lots of math.
You need math from the moment you get out of your house.
There you go. That's right.
You will always need math because it's a fundamental for building any type of structure.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Good. We want to learn a little bit more about the equipment you use here, about the tools you use here, about the amazing guys that are here doing some math in the real world. Right now, I know we have some more problems to do back in the studio, but we will be back and be able to learn a little bit more about some math in the real world here at the Carpenter School. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks for that, Scott. And that is one of the important things that we wanted to have those guys focus on, is how to read a measuring tape and how you can take 1 inch and break it into different 16ths and then look at equivalent fractions and things like that afterwards. So thanks to those guys, and we'll be visiting with them in a little bit from now. We do have Katelyn, a 6th grade student from Reagan Elementary, in studio with us working on some problems. Right now, though, we're going to go to the phones. And Katelyn from Warren, how are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm wonderful. What kind of math problem are you working on today?
Permutations.
All right, let's hear the problem.
How many permutations of 3 different letters can be made from the letters of lines?
All right, so you have 3 different letters?
Yes.
Okay, and what are they again? Or does it matter?
Can be made from the letters of L, I, N, E, S.
Lines?
Oh, so lines.
Okay. Okay, I can't hear her through my speaker, so talk loud, Katelyn.
Okay.
Okay, so your question was about permutations. How many different permutations can be made with 3 letters from the letter?
Right, use it with 3 different letters.
With 3 different letters?
Right.
Okay. So Katelyn, you're going to have to remind me about permutations exactly, because it's been a while for me. Because I know there's permutation and combinations, right?
Yes.
So what do you know about permutations?
I know the formula.
Okay. Remind me of the formula.
P, parentheses, N, R, close parentheses, equals N over N minus R, I think.
So P parentheses N R equals N over N minus R?
Right. You able to see the screen right now, Katelyn?
No.
Oh, okay.
So
That's gonna make it.
N over N subtract R. Or is the subtract R on the bottom as a denominator with the N, or is it separate? Well, that'd have to be.
It's the denominator, and then they have the exclamation mark.
Oh, so factorials?
Factorial.
Yeah, factorial.
So which part? Both parts?
Yes.
So N factorial over N subtract R and parentheses factorial? Or
Yes.
does just the R have a factorial?
N minus R is in parentheses, and then they have the factorial.
Okay. Do you happen to remember what N and R stand for? I don't remember this.
N
been
stands
so long.
for
Do you remember? Because it's a math
the
counts thing,
object
but I don't
taken.
remember. Say that again?
N stands for the object taken.
Okay.
R at a time.
So 3 in this case?
So you're going to take 3, so you're going to need 3 letters out of the possible 5.
So is it, okay, is R 5 then? Is that what this is? Does R stand for the 5? Because there's 5 letters and lines?
I think so.
So
Do you
did they
know,
give?
Katelyn?
So
Do you know?
this is the formula they gave you to work with.
Yes.
Okay, so 3 factorial over 5 minus 3 factorial. I just don't really remember the exact formulas and stuff. So assuming the R stands for how many total things there are. Oh wait, then I did it backwards. That wouldn't be right then, huh?
Right, because you've got the R's and the N's.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I don't think you get a negative, so that can't be what that stands for.
So do you recall, Katelyn, what each of the letters represents?
They don't tell me.
Okay, just read through it one more time, and we'll see if we can glean anything else out of there for you.
How many permutations of 3 3 different letters can be made from the letters of lines?
Okay. So, because I know you wouldn't get a negative on the bottom. Is R like repeats? Mike, do you not remember either? Because I don't remember.
No, not this one.
Yeah, I haven't done permutations in so long. Is like this have something to do with repeats? Whoops. I don't remember. I don't want to do it wrong. Because I don't remember how to do it. And I have a book right here.
This is the competition that Katelyn was part of, right? And Katelyn, you also took part in the math counts competition, is that correct?
Yep.
Katelyn on the phone?
She practiced for it, yeah.
So you practiced for it?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is one of those problems? Or is
Yes.
it?
I know it comes
Okay,
up in
so,
there.
right,
yeah.
it's one of the math counts
But
competition,
I just
right?
I don't remember.
So these that are a higher level. So
Definitely.
here's what we're going to do. I'm going to look up to make sure that we have the correct formula for you, and we're going to give you a call back, and then we're going to make sure that we have the problem done correctly.
Okay,
All
thank
right?
you.
All right, so in the meantime, what we will do is, because it's a great problem, we're going to get back to her. You've got yourself a meal courtesy of our friends at Chick-fil-A, so congratulations on that. And since you're here, Katelyn, back to work, young lady. Over to the
sure.
board. Let's go.
So I'm going to erase it. I gotta remember that.
All right,
Okay.
so that I'll take care of in a little bit, and we'll get
All
back
right,
to Katelyn on
perfect.
that. 7x plus 4y
You want me to do it? Do you want me to write it? 7x
I
plus
can write it.
4y
equals 24.
24.
And then 4x equals 16.
4x.
Now this is going to be a pretty easy one. You need to solve for both x and for y. So
All right, so
Katelyn,
kind of
I
explain.
need you to explain as you're going through it.
So from here you can tell that x equals 4.
Now how do you know that? So you need to explain it because there are
Because
kids watching that don't know how to do that.
4x equals 16. You divide x by 4,
There
and
you
you divide 16 by 4 too, so you get 4 left. So x equals 4.
Okay, so now you got x, but you need to figure out what y is also,
Yeah,
right? So
and
what
then
do
you
do with
plug
that?
in the value of x back into the equation. So 7x plus 4y equals 24. X is 4, so it's 28 plus 4y equals 24. 4y equals negative 4
Because you did
because you subtract 28 from both sides.
what? Okay,
And then that leaves 24 minus 28 is negative 4.
okay.
And then you divide 4 on each side, so you get y equals negative 1. And then just to check that, you plug it back into the equation. 7x plus, minus 4 equals 24.
Oh, because you plugged in
Yeah.
negative 1 and did.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So 7x equals 28. And then you divide each side by 7, so you get x equals 4. And then if you want to put into coordinates, it's 4, negative 1.
Because you always write
Because
x,
you always
comma,
put
y,
x in
right?
front of y. Yeah.
Now, what if you wanted to check to make sure both of those worked at the same time?
You could plug it back in.
So put in 4 for that one and
Yeah.
negative 1 for that one, and then make sure it equals 24.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So 7 times 4, and then 4 times negative 1, and then it worked.
Yeah. And then 28 minus 4 is 24, and 24 is 24.
Yeah. So both of them work. So
Yeah.
that's perfect. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
There you go. Nicely done. Not too bad on that one, huh? All right. For your effort today, you got yourself a meal courtesy of our friends at Grillin' Burger. So congratulations on that. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon. We'll go ahead and take a look at that permutation problem for Katelyn in a little bit. We'll do it all right after this. Today we're at Quailwood Elementary, home of the Cougars, and we're here to All right, once again, we're at Quailwood Elementary, and we have some 6th grade students talking about tessellations. We looked at some of the basic vocabulary about them and what kind of basically what they are. So what you can do is you can take a shape, all right, trace it, now I've got that, okay? All you do is take your shape, right? Turn it, right? This will fit just like that, right? So then I take this, right? I trace it again. And can you see the pattern that I've got going? All right, so then I can put it down here again, right? And I can keep going on the page like that and fill up as much as I want. Once you're through, then what you want to do is you want to think about the different colors that you could use to decorate it to make it look even better, right? So when you look at a checkerboard, you have red and black spaces all over, right?
Sometimes black and white.
Sometimes black and white. You think of colors that go together well. If you think of, do you guys know any sports teams and the colors that are associated with them?
The Lakers.
The Lakers.
Yellow and purple.
Right. Those two colors complement each other. They go together well, right? You wouldn't necessarily want purple and blue together, okay?
The Raiders, their football team, and their black and gray.
Right. So those two colors work together well.
The Rams.
And they're blue and yellow, right?
Yeah.
So those kinds of, so if you think about a color wheel, did you have another team in mind?
Yeah, the 49ers, they're golden and red.
There you go. So you see, teams use those colors because they work well together. So when you get through making a tessellation, you want to think about two colors that go well together. Sometimes people call them hot colors and cool colors, or warm and cool. They're at opposite ends of a color wheel. That's why they go well together, okay? Just like green and red, okay? Things like that. So you each have a pencil, and on here, this is a template. And you can see the one that I did is right there, right? And there are a lot of different shapes on here. All of these will tessellate, where if you trace one and then move it on your paper, right, and trace it again, you can start making a tessellation. Make sense? So all you have to do is select one of the shapes you'd like,
I know which one I'm doing.
and you can go ahead and start making a tessellation. And you might, after a while, you might learn, hey, you know what, there are two of these shapes that work together. Because remember when we had the octagon? And you needed a rhombus to fit in between it. So you can make something even a little bit more complicated instead of just using one shape. But for now, just pick one out, trace it, and then move the template around, and then have it go right next to it so that it fits in it. And you can go side to side. Yeah, turn it however you like. And then see if you can make that shape tessellate.
Is it okay if I use a square?
Yeah, that's fine. So you can have where you put the square in between those
Yeah.
parts. Right. And what you can do is you can have like one of these go inside of that. So you have
Yeah,
like a
that's what I
backward
was
C.
gonna do.
So you can do that.
I'm gonna just add to the.
Then what you can do is you can also think about the colors that you're going to use when you complete one of these. And think about warm and cool colors so that they complement each other well. You guys got the idea of tessellations? All right, there you go. We'll let the kids continue working, the 6th graders at Quailwood Elementary School. And once again, thanks to the students over at Quailwood Elementary, learning a little bit about tessellations and the color scheme that goes with them. Important to know those things, right? I mean, you wouldn't want red and orange for your colors probably, right? Because they're too close on a color wheel, right? So
Yeah.
you want complementary colors. And you were just mentioning that that project looked a little bit about like a circle project you were doing in class one time.
Yep.
Close,
Close.
close.
Not quite.
All right, but you know what? We're going to make you do some more math, but not yet, because we do have another opportunity to go visit and see what the carpenters are learning. Back at the Scott.
There is still math going on in the real world. Still, we want to learn a little bit more about what's going on here. Manuel, tell us a little bit about the first priority. We were talking a little earlier. First priority when students get here to learn about being a carpenter. Number one thing that you emphasize?
Safety.
Safety. Safety first. So show us some of the equipment that they get, that they're given to make sure that they're safe.
Well, one of the fine examples, and we always call it our best friend, is our hard hat.
Okay.
So in cases like, usually a lot of companies will issue you an orange hard hat to identify you as a new apprentice.
Okay, so color makes a difference.
Color,
just so you know. Sure.
color, different color in different hard hats will tell you what is the level of that apprentice, or is that person a safety person? Is he a safety coordinator? Then you have a specific color of hard hats.
Oh, okay.
In this area where we're now in the Central Valley, it gets really hot. So one of my apprentices likes to wear that for the sun, for his neck. Protect yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So safety number one. Gloves, they're a must. And almost in every job site nowadays, you have to have gloves on, safety glasses.
Right.
And of course, now if you're gonna be building up high, now then you have to wear a full body harness.
Right.
Which you probably see some of our apprentices actually make adjustments, and they put their full body harness, and they also put their bags, their tool bags in it.
Right. Right.
So that way they're only wearing one item. Nowadays we have full body harnesses that are made specially so that you can modify and put all your tool pouches in it.
All right.
Instead of having two different items.
Yeah, that makes sense. Gotcha. So you only have one thing to put on, and everything's there. You certainly don't want to be going up and down the ladder, or up and down the lift, or up and down the elevator multiple times. You got to have all your stuff with you and be safe at the same time. And we noticed that all your students here working today all have their hard hats on, all have their safety glasses on, all have their gloves on. So it sounds like the teaching is definitely sinking in a little bit.
Yes, and actually that's one of the first topics. In the first class, we have to give them an OSHA 10 training, federal OSHA.
Right.
10 hours of OSHA. That's on the very first day of class.
Gotcha.
So that they know.
And OSHA is occupational safety
occupational safety.
And hazards or something like that?
I'm a little nervous right now. So I'm not used to
No, that's all right. It's a federal program
It's a
talking
federal
about safety,
program,
though,
yes.
right?
It's a safety program,
Right.
yes. And the minimum is 10 hours of training.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And you could go OSHA 30. In our case, OSHA 500, OSHA 510 if you're going to be an instructor.
Right.
We always preach on that. They learn about chemicals, how to protect themselves, how to read labels
Right.
on containers.
Oh, wow. So much to learn. So much to learn. And of course, there's other tools as well. Okay, maybe start from this end of the table. Tell us a little bit about the things that they're issued and the things that each student is using as they go through the program.
Okay. So one of the basic is this is orange fluorescent chalk.
Okay.
For snapping lines in the concrete or wall surfaces, identifying points. Like in this case, these guys are doing some layout with surveying instruments. And anytime you go out into a building, we have a layout crew.
Right.
The layout crew utilizes this a lot. String line, pulling lines, pulling elevations or pulling straight lines. We have our program has finished carpentry also, so we have sanders, skill saws.
Right.
Never forget the good old hands-on.
That's right. Just in case the power goes out or whatever it is, got to be able to use that. Now you have two different sizes of levels here, right?
Yes, a 2-foot level, a 4-foot level. We also use 6-foot levels.
Okay.
And then of course, now we use laser levels.
All right. Right. So technology certainly can help you quite a bit, but to learn the basics, they have to start somewhere. They have to start there, right? And have all those tools available at the same time, yeah.
Yes, and then we have, a framing square, which is what I learned when I started. I was usually, back then it was framing squares. Then they came up with a combination square. We call it a speed square. This was originally designed for cutting roofs, for roof cutting.
Okay.
Oh, it's a lot faster, and you can read all of your, if you know how to read degrees, once you learn how to read it, you can figure out your degrees, your compound cuts.
Right.
And this is a great tool. It comes in a larger size also. We call it the Bigfoot.
Okay.
It's a 12 by 12 speed
Oh,
square.
okay. Okay. A little bit
Yes.
bigger. And of course, you said this is your best friend, right?
Well, yes, this was my best friend for many, many years out in the field. It's my Construction Master Pro calculator. This specific one, we designed it with our logo.
All right. there you
Southwest
go.
Carpenters. And, you know, we always tell the apprentices, you always need to have this because it's faster. You can double check yourself, make sure you don't make mistakes.
Right. Right. You certainly don't want a mistake after all that hard work.
It only takes you a few seconds, double check yourself and make sure that you turn in quality products.
Yeah.
And of course we have our architect scale. We also have engineer scales. And this is when you start learning civil work. You know, not on top of building structures, we also have to do the hardscape of around the structures. And so we need to it's a combination of working with an architect when you're inside a building and working with engineers and civil engineers when you're outside.
Right.
So we need to learn how to do unit conversions.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
that's one thing that these guys also learn through the
So much math. So many tools to use, so much math to do. We want to know a little bit more, of course, about how students get enrolled in this, so we'll talk about that next segment. Right now, I know that there's some more math to be done, maybe even some carpentry problems. We'll have to kind of see how it goes. Back to the studio.
Well, we'll see about the carpentry problems, but it was nice to see that you guys brought up the different scales as far as an architect scale and then the engineering and things like that. And one thing I always remember learning about carpentry and things was measure twice, cut once. That way, save yourself a lot of problems after that. Anyway, we do have Katelyn back on the line. And Katelyn, we are going to help you out with that permutation problem. Are you ready again?
Yes.
All right.
I think I figured it out.
Oh, so explain to us what you did, and then we'll kind of take a look at what's on the board now also.
So I have 5 factorial over 5 factorial minus 3 factorial.
Which is exactly what's on the board. There you go. So explain to us what you did then.
Well, is it
5 factorial minus 3.
5 minus 3 parentheses factorial?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So 5 minus 3 is 2. So on the bottom, it would be 2 factorial.
Yes. Are you familiar with factorial, Katelyn?
Yes.
Okay. All right, go ahead then.
So for the numerator, 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 factorial is what you would write, but the 2 factorial can cancel out with the denominator.
Right, because they make 1, right? So then you just have 5 times 4 times 3. Whoops, I forgot the 4. Okay, so 5 times 4 times 3. So 20 times 3, so 60.
Yes.
Okay, so just because we did go look up what the numbers stand for, so the N represents how many things there are for you to choose from. So there's 7 members, they call it, because you had 5 members because you have 5 letters in your word. And then 3 represents how many you're choosing. So that's why you did 5 on top and then 5 minus 3 on the bottom.
So does that help you out? You've kind of got a handle on this one now?
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you.
Well, thank you for the call, and I'm glad that we could help you out with that. All right. Here we go, lady. Back over to the board. You get to sit around and listen to people do problems. Now it's time for you to do your problem. All right?
Oh, this is tough.
Nancy and Tim went to go pick some apples. Nancy picked apples at a rate of 30 apples per hour. Tim picked apples at a rate of 25 apples per hour.
Okay.
They both picked the same number of apples. Nancy picked apples for 5 hours. So how many hours must Tim have spent picking apples?
Okay, so I heard you whisper the answer, but let's go through how you get the answer. Okay, so what do you know about Nancy? If you know how many hours she worked and her rate, what could you figure out?
She picked 150 apples.
And how'd you get that?
In the 5 hours, because 30 apples per hour times 5 hours is 150 apples.
Okay, so you know she got 150 apples, and then he said that they picked the same amount.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you use that to get how many Tim
So
picked?
you do 150 divided by 25, which I got 6 hours. Since,
Oops, 150 divided by 25 is 6.
yeah.
So Tim must have picked for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. Nice and easy. All right. Now, I know that you are playing a stock market game. So we're going to talk a little bit about adding percents to total price of things. So clear the board. And Katelyn, what is one of the favorite stocks that your group has been working with?
Probably MT.
And what is that?
ArcelorMittal Company.
Okay, so just go ahead and put the ticker symbol up there for us. And do you remember offhand what one share of that stock was worth? Or about what it is right now, what do you think?
I think it's like $15 per share.
So let's make it $15. You said 15?
Yeah.
So let's make it $15.72. And how many shares did you buy?
500.
All right. So let's put 500 shares. And what I'd like you to do is explain to Cindy how you're going to figure out what the cost for all of those shares is, and then what you have to do to get the total cost.
Okay. So I just like to lay it out. So subtotal, 2%, and total. So subtotal is like 15, it's the price of the share times the amount of shares that you're buying. So it's 15.72 times 500. Wait.
So why don't you do 15.72 times 5, and then you can
And
just
you
worry
could
about the
just-
zeros,
yeah.
and then it'd be a little bit easier. Or if you want to get fancy, you could just take the decimal
Yeah,
because that's like
you could just
multiplying by
do-
100 right
yeah.
there, right?
0, 6, 8, 7, 7,860. So that's a
So
subtotal.
that's your subtotal. Oops, you reversed your 8 and 6.
Oh.
Now I noticed that you said 2%.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to do something with that 2%, but what does 2% represent? What does that mean?
2% is, I think, the tax.
It's like a
Or
tax,
yeah,
right?
like
It's
a
a fee to be able to allow yourself to purchase those
Gotcha.
shares.
So it's like
So
how
then
much
you
they're gonna
yeah.
charge you, basically.
So then you multiply the subtotal by 0.02.
So you made your percent a decimal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so you have that, and then you just find out the decimal spaces, and then you get your 2%.
Okay.
And then you add these two up, the subtotal and 2%, and then you get the total. So I should probably start somewhere new,
Yeah. Or you can just like,
since the decimals don't
you
really.
know, put your decimal there
Yeah.
and write that kind of backwards,
Yeah.
I guess. So your 0 would line up under the 7. There you go.
And then for the total, I got 8,017 and 20 cents.
All right, so had the subtotal by multiplying, then you figured out what 2% of that was and added it on
Yeah.
and got your total. Okay, nice.
There you go, nicely done. Just trying to give you a variety of different problems to work on today. All right, so clear the board. And Cindy, I'm pretty sure you've been in here when we've done 4 4s.
Yes.
So set up 4 4s for Katelyn. Katelyn, I would like you to select the number between 1 and 9.
7.
All right, so put equals 7 at the end of it all. So you have to use all 4 4s multiply, add, subtract, group them together with parentheses, any mathematical symbols you want, but you must have all 4 4s using order of operations come out to equal 7. So explain to us what you're thinking and how you want to start. Remember, you have an eraser, so
All right.
you can always
Yeah.
change your mind.
So order of operations, right?
Yeah.
So gotta pay attention to that. So what are you thinking?
Probably using parentheses
Okay.
or brackets
Okay.
or exponents or something.
Let's just start with multiples 4. What's a
Yeah.
multiple of 4 since these are all 4s? That's close to 7.
8.
Okay, so we can kind of work with that. So
Yeah.
what would we do to 8 to get down to 7? What would we have to do?
Subtract 1.
So how could we make a 1 out of something on here?
And that's the last hint you'll give her.
All right. Okay, so there's my hint. I'm not allowed to give you any more. Or you can try something else. You can try and make it equal 7 some other
you're
way.
done,
So
you're
let's go,
done,
let's
that's
go.
it.
Just try something.
I want to
All
hear
right.
Katelyn's thought process on this.
4, I think, squared.
Well, you
So
can't
that's
use the
not,
2
yeah,
up
you
there.
can't, you can only use add, subtract,
can only use
multiply,
those
divide,
four
parentheses.
fours. Okay.
You can't add extra numbers.
So you can only use 4.
4 4s.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do power of 4?
Nope. Well, you could if you made
You're
one
gonna
of
get a
these a
big
power,
number.
but then you're making your number get really large.
Yeah.
So since we have such a small number, that's probably not helpful. Just put some math
Yeah.
operations in there and see what happens.
It's so frustrating that you can't just use one.
Just put some math
one.
operations in. Let's see. You might get some ideas, by looking at what's happening.
16 minus 4 is 12.
And you have one more 4 to go.
Yeah.
So could you get a 7 from that?
Yeah. Minus, can we do 4 times 2?
Nope.
Can't use a 2.
So I'm gonna just
You can't change any of the numbers. You just have to.
minus 4.
But you
Well,
can't.
you,
You
now
can't
you
add
have
another
5
4.
4s.
What if you tried, changing something? Since you know that's not going to work.
Yeah.
All I said was changing something.
She's got plenty of time.
Just try some different stuff,
That apparently counts as a hint.
I guess.
So the hint that you guys came up with, getting a 1,
Well, she was so close that time too.
is good. So
It's a different-
we
but a
need- I
different
want
way.
to hear what you're thinking about and how you're going to try and solve this.
Yeah.
That's the key to this whole thing.
Let's try times.
Okay.
So
Do you want to put something here, or are you just going to leave it like it's a times
I'm just gonna
also?
leave it times.
Okay.
So that's 64. No, that's not gonna work.
Well, that's good that you're able to see that. So you can go ahead and get rid of
Let's
that.
try division.
Right.
It's 16. Nowhere close to
So
7.
too big still.
Right. But that's good that you tried something different. So erase that stuff and try something different again. And remember, you were correct when you knew that 8 was a multiple close to 7, and that you needed to get a 1 somehow from that 8 to eventually land on 7.
But it's not the only way that you can get it. So.
Right, there are other
You
ways
can
to do it.
think
You can
of
go
other
up
ways, so.
and end up at 7. Because there are multiple ways to get 7.
Yeah.
So I just want you to work on one of them.
And she can even use square roots if she wanted to.
Any mathematical symbol you like.
Yeah, so.
You
If
can use
wanted
the
square root
factorial
one,
symbol.
You could, factorial one you could, if that helps you. You just gotta start trying stuff,
So it's
Okay.
squared.
All right. square root.
So that's 2
Okay. Do you want something in between, or do you want it as times?
times.
Okay.
So 4 times it's 8.
All right.
So 8 close to 7. 4 plus 4, that's 12. 12 can't really get to anywhere by 7 without using 4. I mean, any number other than 4. So minus 4, nope. Can we use 32 squared again? How many, are there any like restrictions?
Do you mean could you square root?
No, you can only
32?
use
It's
the
not a
square
perfect
root
square
symbol on one of
anyways.
the 4s.
Eight. Again, close, but not 7. So
You're getting there. Now, the way you were going to start, where you had an 8 and you needed a 1, that's
Yeah.
where you could work down to get 7. The way you just had it with that square root symbol on the last 4 is a way you could build up to get 7. So think about your square root symbol on that last 4. Go ahead and put it up there again. And you know that's equal to 2.
yeah,
So you're going to have to use the other 4s to get what? Plus 2 to make 7.
5.
So you need those 3 4s to make 5 somehow. So think about how
So
you
if
can
we
use
have
them to make a
4,
5.
But we want to, I mean, we have 4s, we have a bunch of 4s, right? But we know we at least have to start with a 4.
Yeah.
But we want, if we're trying to get to 5, what would we need to do to get to 5 somehow?
I was thinking of squaring these two, so then you get 2 plus 2, and that's 1 away from 5. But then you can't really do anything to this to
Right,
get
right.
Right,
divided.
so think about grouping some
So
other
let's
way.
do
You're not going to
something
use any
else
more
then,
square
yeah.
root symbols.
Try some basic math operations.
Plus 8.
Okay, so you don't want to add the 4s because you want to get
Yeah.
something that is eventually going to only get to 5. So if you started with a 4,
Yeah.
the first 4, what would you have to add to it to get 5?
3.
Well, you're starting with 4.
Oh,
many more
sorry,
you-
1. Yeah.
Okay, so leave the first 4 alone. You're going to add that. So after the first 4, put an addition symbol. So you're going to add, now how can you use those 2 4s in the middle to make 1?
What operation could you put between the 2 middle 4s to
These
make
two?
1?
Divide.
Okay.
Now, are you asking us or telling us?
I don't know. Probably both.
So what is 4 divided by 4?
1.
Okay, so do you think you could put grouping symbols anywhere to make it where it makes sense now?
Yeah.
Now you're
So
going to have to put something
4.
else in front of that square root symbol. There you go.
So, let's
So
start
now
there.
work it all out.
Okay, now check your math.
4 plus 1 plus 2 equals 7.
There you go.
This is-
Nicely
There we go.
done. So you see how you got it now?
Plus 2.
All right. It took a little while, but there are a lot of different ways to get 7, so you worked it on the way up using that square root symbol. And for your effort, you've got yourself a couple of tickets to any athletic event, courtesy of CUCB Athletics Department. So congratulations on that. And we'll be back with more right after this. One more visit to the Carpenters Union.
Math is still happening at the Southwest Carpenters Training Fund. And Manuel, we want to know a little bit more about, I know that someone's got a question out there. Who can be involved in this program? How do they get involved? What age ranges? Tell us anything you can a little bit about how a student gets started in a program that you run here.
Well, it doesn't matter, where you come from or where you are in life at this time. You could be a part of our program. At this point, yes, you need to be 18 years old.
Okay.
Okay. We do have programs already going in high schools, and some of the high schools in this area have bought into our program. It's Career Connections.
Oh, good.
Okay. It's a 4-year program during high school. It's taken out of our curriculum. that we use with this gentleman, with these guys.
Right.
And we brought it in a compact version designed for the high schools, for the high school kids.
Right. Does it cost anything for a student to be part of your program?
No, it doesn't cost anything. Like I said before, you actually earn as you learn. We have a great benefit program. We have a pension plan. This, vacation, and always room for advancement.
Right.
So the way we always say it, it's pre-apprentice, apprentice, lead man, journeyman, foreman, superintendent, company owner.
Right.
We want these guys to become bulletproof in the building trades, and we want to form professionals.
Right. And that can be really attractive to a young person if they don't quite know what they want to do, or they know for sure they really like working with their hands. They can jump right in this program, right? They can learn a bunch of things and they can get paid while they do it, right? It's a little bit different than other paths that they could take.
Yes, you earn as you learn. You come in, you get more knowledge. You go out, you go back to work. You actually, every 6 months, if you have your work hours and you're going through your program accordingly to our standards, you get a raise every 6 months.
Right.
As you go back to work.
Nice that the program is already lined up there. So boys, girls, anybody can do this, right? 18 or older.
18 and over. If you're out of high school, 18 and over. And we have a boots program. It's designed for young ladies that would like to try and see and find out if this is something that they would like to try. We also have a Brothers Keepers program, especially down in like big cities like LA. That's designed for veterans.
Okay.
Yes, we help our veterans, and at this point we actually bring veterans in at a higher level because of what they have served.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so we got to wind up with this one though. Personal question, how did you get started in something like this? What's your interest in this area?
What is my interest in this area is to make sure that experience is passed on to the next generations.
Right.
Make sure that we lead by example, and make sure that everyone needs to understand that when we retire, we're all going to retire being apprentices. You never stop learning.
What a great philosophy to have for these young people that are learning too. You never stop learning, right? There's always another step to take. There's always more you can acquire.
Yes.
Man, we're still learning here too. I feel like I learned a ton today. We want to make sure that you know that we appreciate you. We have our famous do the math tile, and so I'm not quite sure how much tile work you do around here, but maybe you can add that to the program, and
we'll find out.
That's right. Display that somewhere proudly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time here. We learned a ton. We know there's more work to do back in the studio, but at the meantime, we'll go ahead and see what these guys are building over here, and we'll get it back to the studio to finish up.
All right, thanks for that, Scott, and also thank you to Josh and the rest of the crew out at the Southwest Carpenters Union. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. 636-4357 is that phone number. We want to say thank you to Katelyn for coming in this afternoon from Reagan Elementary, a 6th grade student. Oh, one quick thing. How was Camp Keep?
It was pretty good.
What's the best thing about Camp Keep?
Probably camping with your friends for a week.
Oh, so camping with your friends for a week. You know what? That's the first time somebody's come up with something other than the food. Did you like the food?
It was okay, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad that you had fun with your friends also. All right, until we meet again, continue to do the math.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary STROOPE Family Foundation, Panama-Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.